right, let's get into the Week 10 of the Fantasy Football League. We got big game tonight with fantasy implications with two teams with winning records going at it tonight, Carolina and Pittsburgh. So, Jeff Pasquino from thefootballguys.com. If you have a question for Jeff, a fantasy football question for Jeff, send us a text right now, 609-403-0973. We'll try to fit in as many listener questions as we can. But first, Jeff, tonight we've got Carolina and Pittsburgh. Who should be active?
That's a good game tonight. It's one should be a fun one to watch. Both teams are in good records, but Carolina, I'd be a little temperate on using those guys. Greg Olsen and Christian McCaffrey are clearly the top two, as is Cam Newton. But Pittsburgh has not allowed a 100-yard rusher all year, and they've held teams to 21 points or less in the last 4 games. So I would lean towards Pittsburgh at home. Normally the Thursday home it favors the home team. So you got Big Ben with his receivers, Antonio Brown and Juju. Also like James Conner at the running back position.
All right, let's dive into the quarterbacks here. Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. Let's get into some guys that might be in that middle of the pack here that people are thinking about. Let's go with Ryan Fitzpatrick against Washington. He's back, and they typically put up points with Fitzpatrick at the helm. They
do, and Washington is – I was a little surprised at the line in this game. Washington is not the favorite despite their better record, so I agree with that because Washington's kind of a paper tiger. I think Ryan Fitzpatrick is a top 3 quarterback this week.
Matthew Stafford, I mean, typically you plug him right in, but against the Bears?
Yeah, I think I'm going to hold back on that one, even with some teams on a bye this week. I think Matthew Stafford's much more into the deeper quarterback 2 category this week.
What about Andy Dalton against the Saints? You know, that's a lot of those Saints games turns into shootouts.
They do, but A.J. Green is out, so that leads to some of my sleeper wide receivers this week and the tight end as well. I think Cincinnati's going to try and put up some points, and it's going to probably have to do that for the passing game, but Andy Dalton, for me, is more of a quarterback 2 this week.
There's a lot of buys this week, so how about this one's a little tricky? What if you need a quarterback, you're on a bye? Nick Mullins had a big week last week. He's going against the Giants. What about that?
He's not a bad pickup. I think he's a solid play. If you can get Ryan Fitzpatrick, obviously he's the top pickup. Quarterback, I think that I wouldn't mind putting Nick Mullins, but he's more of a quarterback this week. After one game against Oakland, who's kind of mailed it in, I wouldn't trust him 100% just yet.
All right, one more quarterback. Let's get to how about this week, Russell Wilson up against the Rams. You got Wilson on the road this week at L.A.
He's been playing well. He played well the first time these two teams matched up. He's thrown, I think, 2 touchdowns in the last 4 games. I think he's a solid play. He's more quarterback 2 for me. If you had to pick up a guy, I might lean towards Alex Smith against Tampa Bay as suspect. I think Alex Smith is on a lot of waiver wires, and this is a good matchup. Even Washington banged up at wide receiver.
All right, if you have a fantasy football question for Jeff Pasquino, 609-403-0973. Keep your text messages coming. Get your text messages in for Jeff. Let's go to running back. What about, all right, Joe Mixon going up against New Orleans this week?
I think he's a clear running back 1 this week. He's going to be involved with a lot of heavy touches. Again, no A.J. Green, so they're going to get the ball in the hands of Mixon, Boyd, and even John Ross.
Nick Chubb, last week we talked about him. Did you see enough from him to say, all right, go ahead and start him?
Atlanta's one of the worst teams against running backs, especially receiving running backs. So I think both Nick Chubb and Duke Johnson, who's another running back I'm favoring this week, are both solid plays. I think Cleveland as an underdog upset at home could very well play out this week.
Are you worried about Aaron Jones after that fumble last week?
No, because he's seen most of the bulk of the workload. For me, it's all about touches and opportunity. The touches lead to touchdowns and production. Aaron Jones is a solid running back 2 this week.
Jordan Howard, he was a high pick for a lot. He had a big week last week. Is he finally back?
I think he is. And against Detroit, Detroit's one of the bottom 5 team in rushing yards per carry. I think both him and Tarek Cohen are going to have bad weeks. And if you're going to pick running backs for big favorites from Vegas so that they're 6 points or more favorites, because in the fourth quarter they're probably going to be running out the clock.
All right, a couple more running backs here. Let's go and take a look at a guy like, how about Sony Michel? He's questionable. What would you do with him after seeing what White's done?
Yeah, I really favor James White there. I think Sony Michel is an option. Cordarrelle Patterson's kind of filled in there as well. I think the Patriots are still plugging it all together and it's playing out how it's going. But Tennessee has only given up 3 running back touchdowns all season, rushing touchdowns all year, which is part of the reason I favored Tennessee to win to get over Dallas last week. And I think that I love James White as a running back 1 this week. Everybody else in the backfield for the Patriots, I'm kind of saying let's hold off for a week.
All right, keep your eye out. Leonard Fournette back this week, right?
Yes, he should be back this week, and it'll be interesting to see how they split carries between him and the new pickup from Cleveland.
All right, let's take a look at some wide receivers. Jeff Pasquino from the footballguys.com. If you have a fantasy football question for Jeff, week number 10, get them over. Plus, Jeff will give his sleepers. He's got a couple of sleepers he wants to get out there this week, some guys to start, sit, and that he's playing this week. Let's go to wide out, though, and take a look at Golden Tate. Let's start with the new guy in Philadelphia. What do you do with new wide receivers in an offense?
Well, it's a little bit different this week because the Eagles are coming off of a bye. So they've had 2 weeks to work Golden Tate in. He's also a veteran, and he's going to be working out of the slot pretty much in the Nelson Aguilar role. So I think he's going to see a lot of targets. A lot of run-pass options are going to go towards Golden Tate. He could easily catch 6 or 7 passes this week.
All right, let's go to how about a guy? All right, you got Josh Gordon. Is he where do you have him as a wide receiver 3, 2? Is he going to be a 1 by the end of the year? How are you ranking him now?
Well, I think he's a wide receiver 2 with upside most weeks. I think he's clearly established himself to be on the field a lot more often. He's the clear number 2 for the receivers after Julian Edelman as far as being on the field. Again, without Gronkowski, he's practicing this week. He's probably going to play, but you're looking at Gordon as probably the 3rd or 4th target after James White. I think he's going to see plenty of targets, and against a team like Tennessee, who again is much stronger against the run, I think you're going to see more passing for Tom Brady this week.
How about Tyler Boyd? Is he finally one of those guys that has he moved to wide receiver 1 status?
Well, on his team by default, because A.J. Green's out the next couple weeks, he has moved up to that role. Cincinnati, I think we have him as wide receiver 11 this week against the Saints. It's a good matchup. He's going to see a ton of targets, he could easily catch 6-7 balls and score a touchdown this week.
Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. A couple more wide receiver. What about Amari Cooper? He played last week. You saw it. Did you see enough of him to kind of give him a ranking?
I think he's a wide receiver 3. I think Dak Prescott is really – Dallas did not impress me. Dallas and Tennessee look like teams that, if in the right circumstance, if everything goes their way, they can win, but it's got to break their way. And Dallas, they're getting the ball in the hands of Zeke Elliott and then hoping for the best after that.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. We got your text messages coming in. We'll try to get to a couple of these. I know Jeff's got a lot of plays as well. 609-403-0973. Ryan has been compiling our listener text messages. Let's see what they got this week.
All right, first one here is Steve from Margate. He was stressing out with A.J. Green out this week, Jeff. John Ross is back healthy. Is he a good play?
Normally when a guy comes back from injury, I want to see him play, especially if he's been out for a few weeks. I think he's a wide receiver 4 flex option. I would probably look towards some of the waiver wire guys I'm going to mention in a minute.
Okay. Matt Breida or Valdez Scantling in the flex?
Valdez Scantling is the guy on my top of my wide receiver pickup list. They just put a wide receiver on IR in Green Bay. I think that you're looking at MVS, as we like to say, is much easier to say, as a starting wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers, which is never a bad thing.
All right, you got to pick 2 running backs here. Fournette, Aaron Jones, Mack, Drake, or Howard. It's not a PPR league.
I'm going to take Howard, and I'm going to take Adam Jones because both those teams are favored to win by a good amount.
All right, this is Ron from Vineland. His question is, who should I start in the flex non-PPR? Tevin Coleman from Atlanta or Marlon Mack from Indy?
While I like Indianapolis to win this week, Coleman is going to see a ton of work. He's the feature back. You always go with a feature back. Tevin Coleman's pick.
All right, PPR, you got to pick 2 here. I like these pick 2 with multiple options. PPR pick 2, Fournette, Chubb, Melvin, or Mixon. Also, who's a better flex play, Tate or one of the running backs listed above?
I would go with Chubb, who I really like this week. I assume that's Melvin Gordon, so he's definitely on the list. And I think Golden Tate's a solid flex option.
All right, Joe from Smithville wants to know Kittle or Burton?
Trey Burton sees a lot of work, and Detroit's really a mess. But I think Kittle's a top 3 tight end this week, and if you believe in the Nick Mullins movement in San Francisco, and the 49ers are favored, the Giants are terrible, I like George Kittle there.
All right, this one here is a tough one, Jeff. We're going to need your help. Drew Brees or Patrick Mahomes? I mean, you got 2 of the best here in fantasy. What do you do if you have both those guys on your roster?
Well, I'm looking to trade one as soon as I can because you don't need both. But Mahomes is the top option there because he has a run-pass option both in himself. He can run more. Drew Brees is not going to do that. And both those games could be blowouts where they pack it in early. But Mahomes is getting plenty of work into the fourth quarter. And Kansas City is scoring plenty of points. I lean Mahomes as the number 1 quarterback this week.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. Give us some sleepers, some guys that you like, and some guys that you're playing this week.
All right, a couple of guys we mentioned already, but running back, Mike Davis is a pickup for Seattle. He could be the feature back in a high-scoring game against the Rams. Duke Johnson was mentioned earlier. Ito Smith is a solid pickup for Atlanta. He's getting plenty of work when Tevin Coleman needs a breather. And Josh Adams, he looks the part to me. He looks like the part of a 3-down running back. And I heard Sproles tweak the leg today. So Josh Adams is my 4th running back pickup this week. Wide receiver, we mentioned MVS, without his scaling for the Green Bay Packers. Cortland Sutton is now starting for Denver and coming back off of a bye. Kiki Cutie for Houston is coming off of a bye as well. And John Ross, as mentioned earlier, I would pick him up. Wouldn't start him this week, but I'd pick him up because Cincinnati needs targets. Speaking of targets, we have 3 tight ends. CJ Uzama for Cincinnati. He's going to see a lot of targets for Cincinnati, again, because A.J. Green is out. Jack Doyle, if he's on the waiver wire, pick him up, as is Chris Herndon for the Jets. They're scoring a lot of points to the tight end right now.
Jeff Pasquino, there you go, footballguys.com, helping you with your Week 10 fantasy football lineups. Get your guys in the lineups, get your bye week players out, and good luck to you, Jeff.
Good luck, everybody. Enjoy the games.